Bought this walk behind mower today. I'm going to use it in sort of a unique fashion, so stay tuned. We're going to modify this thing. We're going to pull it behind a quad and hopefully start mowing our field up in our New York property. Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Kyle and the channel is called Kyle by the Lake. It was a little over a year and a half ago where a group of us bought about 60 acres in the Adirondacks. We're from Connecticut, but we've been really enjoying the year and a half that we've had up there to play around on dirt bikes, quads, snowmobiles. The thing is, our grass has been growing and we've cut the field maybe once. Probably not even a full time when we did it. We have a Bobcat up there and it's not reliable. The mower's good, but the Bobcat itself is not reliable. So I bought this for $150. I'm looking for a quick, easy solution to mowing a little bit of grass. It's not going to be perfect, but I have an interesting idea to tow this thing behind with our quads. Our quads work well. We need a mower that works well, and I'd like to not actually do the walk behind thing because it's hot up there when we want to mow and we're limited with time. Like, I want to go kind of fast, drag some things, knock down a little bit of grass. It doesn't need to be perfect. I know this is a finish mower. It's not a brush hog. Yeah, I'm going to be using it kind of like a brush hog. We're going to beat on this thing a little bit, and I'm going to make minimal modifications to it. Like, this is going to be really not a good project. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, so come along. Let's see what happens with this. All right, let's give this thing a little bit of a once over. I took the screws off this so we can get this lid off. I'm actually really glad that it has this cover because this thing's probably gonna spend its life sitting outside. But you can see, like, the deck is really solid. Like, it's not even much chipping paint. The deck is in very good shape. Looks like our belts are decent, and everything seems to spin. So yeah, that's what I'm looking for. We have like a little, I don't know, 12 or 13 horsepower Briggs on here. And I was kind of excited that it was a Briggs because I'm very familiar with them. And I think it'll be easy to work on, easy to get parts. It's electric start, which is nice. And yeah, I don't even know where a battery, I guess a battery would go in here somewhere. But it does have like a push button start. Need to hook this up. Or we could just jump, you know, if we don't have a battery, we could just jump it. Engine spins. A little bit of compression there, so that's good. Yeah. The front tire here is low, but these tires have air, and he said he's never touched them. They just always hold air. Here's what I'm thinking of doing though. I'm actually thinking of removing these rear wheels, removing the transmission, removing like all of this stuff, you know, and hooking a tongue up to it with a hitch and towing it that way. So basically leaving the engine right where it is, gas tank right where it is, all these controls right where they are. Like, really simple modifications. I'm gonna boost up the back end as high as it can go, or maybe make some modifications so that it goes up even higher. And that's about it. And they're just gonna tow this thing. We're gonna mow with it backwards, which I don't think will be too much of a problem, especially if you get the rear wheels out of there. I don't know. I think it's gonna be okay. Some of the things I like about like leaving it together is like you could do the blade engagement from there, and that's like a nice safe way to start it. Like, you know, I was really thinking of making my own type of brush hog, but again, it would be with a finish mower and an engine that I put on. I'd have to do a lot of fabrication, and the more I thought about it, I was like, why don't I just modify a walk behind? And then you got all the throttle controls, blade engagement, gas tank, electric start. I was like, I think that's the way to do it. So hopefully this will be pretty simple. I think first thing we got to do though is get this thing running. We have the engine cover off, and just looking at like the throttle and the choke linkages, they did a little bit of funny business. They added this, which is like a designated choke, which I guess it works fine. But they're just missing the simple little linkage. You know, when you do the full throttle, that this guy is supposed to push a linkage. If that's all the way up, it'll engage choke. So I have plenty of those linkages, so whatever. We could either keep it the way it is because it's functioning just fine, it seems, or we could return it back to the way it's supposed to be and get rid of, you know, one extra cable here that we might not need. But let's get this carburetor off. I'm sure it's going to need to be clean. There's just a little bit of gross stuff at the bottom of this, and we'll just run some fresh gas through there. We'll do all new fuel lines and stuff like that. So yeah, we'll work on the fuel system first and just hope that, you know, spark and compression are there. Check our oil, fire it up. We're doing this real backyard mechanic style here. Just doing everything in the grass. Yeah, that gasket's kind of toast. Actually, I should have a bunch of these gaskets arriving today. Put in an order for them because that one is all ripped up. Yeah. These, oh, of course, the jet just fell out. There it is. Don't lose that. Oh, maybe the gasket's savable a little bit. Ugh. If I don't mess it up too much more. But we got some clogged stuff for sure, so let's get this thing cleaned up. The carb is clean, and I hooked up that linkage to the choke there. You can see this is how the choke is supposed to be actuated. So you go full throttle and a little past, and then you'll get choke right where the choke symbol is. Go back to the notch, which is, well, whatever, there. And then yeah, see, right before, that should be full throttle, right before it engages choke, you go a little past it and then you get choke. So that's looking good. And we have a backup. Maybe we'll just leave that there in case something fails in the field. Now let's blow this off, get all the, doesn't look like there's a mouse nest, but just grass in there. Plug up this intake and blow off the engine. Not bad at all in there. Yeah, I took the tank off, got it cleaned that way. Got some of the fuel lines on, got a filter shut off. Put this on, and let's remove the fuel line first. That's hard as a rock anyway. But we're getting the fuel system all sorted out. So the oil is all filled with gasoline. It's very thin, and I just want to get this to fire off once, and then we'll change the oil right away. But I do want to make sure, you know, we got a running engine here first, and we're close. We're real close to getting this thing started. Okay, I'm actually going to change the oil first. I just went to try to start it, and there's so much compression, it's hydro locked. Yeah, so let's just drain the oil. We're gonna have to do it anyway. All right, it's a good old mess over here. There was a lot of gasoline in that engine, so we got all that out. Just trying to get things somewhat cleaned up. All right, let's fire it up. What is sputtering? I can't see. You saw. I'm getting hit with liquid. I don't even know what that was. I gotta watch better. the thing isn't all bad. It works all right. So let me give you a little demonstration here. Key switch works, solenoid works, kill switch works. I just figured all this out. We just need a battery, guys. I got it on a jump pack right now, but that's working great. All right, we have battery cables hooked up. I know they're both black. Here's our positive, here's our ground. And the solenoid works. Trigger wire works. Like I said, kill switch works too. You know, if we get this removed, we could put the battery easily right here and tie it down. I'm having this thought of maybe I'll just leave these tires on the axle, if that's a possibility. Just remove the belts and everything. And I mean, that might help as like sort of like an anti-scalp scenario. I have a feeling that, you know, this thing will be tilted a little bit while we drag it. Like the tail end will be down and the nose end, which is the back now, is going to be up a little bit. And maybe having those tires there might help to, like, I don't know, hit some rocks or something before the metal hits. They're good tires, so I don't know, kind of hesitant to scrap them. And then it'll help to like move this thing around. So I really might not take all that much off of this thing. That's what we're gonna do right now. We're just gonna strip it down as much as we can, lighten it up a bit. And we're underneath the machine here, just looking at the transmission pulley, the main drive pulley. If you can, I know it doesn't focus too well, but there's just a little tension clip on there, C-clip. So we'll start with that. Hopefully that removes itself. And then there's some bolts underneath there. You can see one. And then we can start removing the transmission. All right, so that clip under there is all rusted. So I just kind of did the unthinkable and just used the hacksaw. Look at, I'm just cutting things, kind of like a mad person. But I'm left with the one in the middle. So let's see if we can get it out together. All right, we got the plug-in Milwaukee with a, not just a bi-metal blade, but a metal blade. There we go. Got it. I don't know if you could catch that. Sweet. There it goes. Finally. She's out. Whew. Well, as you saw in time lapse, I removed much of the excess stuff. We got the transmission out of there. It's looking overall pretty clean. And I greased everything under the belt cover, so all those pulleys are greased. And the more I'm thinking about it, I don't really see a reason to tow this thing backwards. Why not tow it forward, right? I should be able to, you know, even if I put like a metal bar across these two arms for the front swiveling wheels and then attach a tow hook to that, that might do it. Instead of towing it backwards, right? I mean, it's meant to cut forward better. I mean, it can cut backwards, but it's meant to cut forward. And I might as well try to keep that. Again, this is like basically trying to keep things as simple as possible. And why make it complicated by pulling it backwards? If I can just keep it simple and find some way to tow it forward, I think I'm going to do that. That way I can leave the tires and we can roll on rubber inflated tires in the back. That'd be pretty nice. And we could, you know, it could be angled up like this with the tow hitch, depending on how we want it. Maybe we can even make it adjustable. I think that's what I'm going to go with. And I'm just thinking about this rear axle. It kind of looks like I have some play. Like I can get another 1.5 inches of height. I don't know. I don't think this is like terribly fixed. I think it's just sort of a, it probably sits there bottoming out. It's probably best to have it where it is, but I wonder if I can bring down this axle, which would raise up the cutting height. Just thinking. Well, it's later in the evening. I just came back from Tractor Supply. Bought this nice thick piece of steel. Got a hitch receiver or A-frame coupler. It's for a 2-inch ball, although I have 1 7/8, but it fits on there fine. Got a battery, and I ran a wire off the wiring harness, and it had voltage, so we have a charging system too. So this thing charges at like 13 volts while it's running, which is perfect. So a brand new battery, charging system works, electric start works. We're like rocking and rolling here. I'm convincing myself more and more to keep this as absolutely simple as possible, and to even, like, you know, take this piece here. I'm not even gonna cut it. Like, well, here's what I'm gonna do with it. It's gonna go like this. All right, see? You know, it'll be up like that, and you know, it'll overhang by a couple inches on each side. And just to make it simple on ourselves, right, we could just buy that piece off the shelf and just weld it on. So I got my little welder over here, and first thing I'm going to try to do is, you know, grind this down a little bit and get it tacked on there, and then we'll weld it in pretty good, and then I'll show you how the coupler goes on to this angled piece. All right, the next morning here, and yeah, early this morning I painted the bar, so it's a little tacky, but I have it welded. I did a bit more welding. It's just absolutely horrible. I probably need a stick welder, like a good one, to do what I'm doing, but yeah, it's on there. I can easily stand and lift this thing up, and it's not a problem. All right, we have our coupler, and I drilled 4 holes in it because I'm gonna do bolts to mount this instead of welding it. The coupler is gonna go underneath the angle, okay? And what I need to do is put some painter's tape over the bolt holes, mark them. I have a little punch. I'll just punch out the painter's tape, right? Transfer the tape to the iron here, and then we'll drill that out so our bolt holes match up. And we're just like eyeballing everything. Like even this, the more I look at this bar, like these arms for these front caster wheels are not necessarily even. So the bar is like at an angle compared to what would be, you know, true plumb and everything. But it is what it is. Everything's gonna be as simple as could be. We didn't even use a level, you know. I just chose the lowest point on here and then I called that level, and it's not level. But yeah, you guys will find out quick. I don't really care. So we're just doing it. Let's get these bolt holes transferred. Got the drill here, and we'll drill it out, get this thing bolted up, and test it out. Okay, so here are our holes. And then we're just gonna find wherever we think is in the middle. And I'm coming off you can see I'm coming off the edge because I'm trying to leave room for that, like 1/4 inch, so that this thing goes all the way up against it. But if I went too far back, the bolt holes wouldn't line up, I'm afraid. So I'm gonna call that where we need it. All right. Probably do a locking. Oops. There we go. It's not quite as high as I'd like, but I mean, I guess it does lift the front wheels off the ground. I wonder with my king quad if that sits a little bit higher. I don't know, or we might want to make some modifications somehow. Not sure. But that's the first connection there. All right, my first test run is going to be without mowing, just going to tow it around. Through a little bit of a ride up here where there's some bumps. You know, the whole thing, you know, mowing, I'm going to be going really slow. So this is already like probably as fast as I'm going to want to drive. But in a minute we can mow all this. This is kind of high. Nowhere close to as high as it is in our New York property, but so far it's still attached. Any trouble. I'm in 2-wheel drive high, so I could go much lower and use 4-wheel if I need to. Could try like a significant hill low gear just to go down. Oh, that's super low. There's low. Now we're in low gear. My quad doesn't have great brakes. It has no front brakes right now and just a little bit in the rear. But she's still attached. Should we try the hill here? Probably would have been better in four-wheel drive. I could feel the rear tires losing a little bit of traction, but that's a great test. Just gonna roll back just a little bit. Don't worry about that. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Okay, so reverse is gonna be tricky because it'll jackknife real easy. But that's good to know. Yeah, it would be nice if like the tongue was a lot longer. I was kind of lucky to find a A-frame coupler that was as long as it was. But yeah, I gotta look into turns and stuff to see if that's gonna be a problem. But this is all part of the testing. That was a pretty good test. So steering, I had to be a little cautious about rubbing into the back here. I do wish that coupler was extended. I really don't know what I can do about that at the moment without like building something kind of extreme in addition to what we have. But as far as the height goes, I mean, you know, it definitely got down to like really high finishing levels, but as I mowed into what would be like more like grass level, it really didn't cut at all. So all the passes I did up here, it kind of skimmed above all these like 6-inch grass blades. So it's set pretty high. You know, it's a good like blades might be 6 inches. Well, right here it doesn't look quite like 6, but anyhow, I don't even think I'm going to sharpen those blades because it's just going to get beat up. They're fine. The blades are in really good shape. Very good first test. I wonder if I really don't have any more spots that have a lot of growth right now. I almost wish I had a better field to test this out in, but I'll try to think of something. So yeah, as you've seen, I'm getting a little bit of tire rub right here. And I'm thinking, I mean, I could remove some metal. I don't know if that's a great idea, if that like sharpens up the edge there and makes it worse. Obviously the better scenario would be a longer tongue that just had this thing further away. So yeah, I'm gonna look on Marketplace just to see. I've seen some tongues on there. Maybe I'll get lucky and find something. I mean, this was on clearance. It was $35, so that's not the worst thing. And I can't exchange it now that I've drilled a bunch of holes into it, but yeah. But a $35 mistake or something isn't, we could swallow that, that's fine. But yeah, let me do a little bit of searching and see what I can come up with. So I just made a purchase on the Tractor Supply website, something that they're gonna ship to the store and I'll pick up in a couple days. But it's an ATV hitch receiver extension. It's going to bolt into the bolt, where the ball is right now. It's gonna come out a couple inches and also go up, and then it has another hole, small hole, for the ball hitch. So the ball hitch will be like here, up a little bit and back further. It was like $40 and I bought it. So I think that's gonna do the trick for us. I think it's gonna get everything obviously up a little bit higher. It's gonna keep the tires from rubbing when you're doing forward turns. I think nothing's gonna really change reversing. You know, there's always the chance to jackknife a trailer regardless of what you have back there, but you don't want to be going forward and not be able to do a full turn, you know, worrying about tire rub in the rear. That's not good, because, you know, who knows what kind of maneuvering we're going to have to do in New York, you know, in our field, just dodging, you know, geographical obstacles or trash or rocks, whatever. So I think that's going to help a lot, and it also saves me from having to do any more fabrication, because clearly that's not my strong suit. And so yeah, I'm gonna just pick up the camera in a couple days and I'll install that with you guys. Nearly a week later, finally this part came in. It's not quite as long as I thought it was gonna be, but yeah, it's gonna extend things out. It should do the trick, and it does elevate it a little bit too. So it's a subtle change, but I don't think we need a major change. So hopefully this does it, and hopefully it was worth the wait here. All right, check it out, guys. I just tested it out, and it's actually just long enough where you have perfect clearance between this when you're turning. I do wish it was a little bit longer, but no complaints. It does not rub. So I think we got the winning recipe right here, and this was easy too, like simple installation, very little fabrication. That fits my style here. So I think we got something. It's I want to test it a little bit more. My grass isn't very high, but you know, soon enough it'll just go up north to New York, and then we'll really give it a test. It got the front end up a bunch more, and I'm happy with that. Well, it's weeks later now, and what are we doing? Well, I have a plasma cutter here, and I'm borrowing this from my brother, and I was thinking that I'd chop out some of this front portion here and allow some of the tall grass to get under the deck a little more easily. So, not sure exactly what my plan is. I know for sure it's like double braced over here, like to the end. It starts right here. So it's thinner metal here. I think what I'm gonna do to start is cut out like this whole front portion going all the way to the next bracket, at least that much, and then we'll see if I can squeak out a little bit more. Obviously I have to leave some meat here for this to bolt into. Yeah, and even, you know, maybe it's not a great idea to cut all of that. I'm not sure, we'll see. But that's the plan. Let's see if this plasma cutter works. So that was an interesting side quest. So the plasma cutter tripped the breaker in my house, so I decided to pull out the generator, which I haven't used in like 3 or 4 years. The gas tank was completely full of water because of the way that the storage tent is just pitching water coming off of the roof right onto the generator, and this cap is yeah. So had to take the tank off, dump the tank, put fresh gas in, clean the carburetor a couple times. Now it's running. That took a while, and let's see if we can finally power this plasma cutter now. right, so here's the progress so far. It's really slow. I keep tripping the breaker even on the generator, so I'll tell you why. I don't have the correct adapters to get me into the 220, so I'm just running this off of 110, and with 110 the duplex outlets I can only do 20 amps. So 20 amps with this barely cuts the steel. So to get any progress I'm having to run 30 amps, and it cuts pretty good, but it trips the breaker within a minute. So that's the progress we're doing right now. It's really slow and probably not good for the generator, but I don't know what else to do right now. You can see, like, here's a connector that goes to that, but it's just, I don't have the right stuff. I checked inside the house too. I don't have anything that can get me from the big 3-prong to the 4-pin twist. Alright, I'm making some better progress here. I figured something out. I took off the guard that was on this thing. It came with this thing, and it like keeps it a certain distance away, and this thing does not operate well when it's basically, it wants to be like touching the material. Yeah, so I'm running it at 23 amps. That seems to be just high enough to get some cutting done, and it doesn't trip the breaker on me right now. I'm trying to let my air compressor take a break because the thing's little, and this thing uses a lot of air, and yeah, so I think we'll get this done. It's gonna take me a little while. Not sure if I'm gonna film this whole thing, but I think I'll get the minimum done. You know, if I could just keep this line going, that's really what I'd like to do. I'll settle for that. Well, there were a couple times where I didn't think I was gonna make it. It's kind of cool to see it all come off in that one big chunk. So this thing's pretty cool. I really do want to run it on 220, but tool yum, not bad. Probably be good with a bigger compressor, and definitely running it on 220 would be nice. All right, one other thing I did while I was kind of waiting for things to cool down, I found a 2-inch ball, because the receiver's 2-inch and I had a 1-inch and 7/8 ball on here previously. But I also stacked up some big nuts that don't thread on. I'm just using them as spacers, like washers. And you know, that gives us like 1.5 inches more of height. And now we have the front opened up a little bit. I think we made some big improvements right here. Okay guys, tomorrow is the day. We're going up to the New York property, and this thing has been sitting around. It's all painted and dried. I just pulled it back out from, you know, where I keep it stored and fired right up. Mowing blades are still working great. And I'm gonna get it loaded up on my trailer, and I have to remember to take along with me the hitch, because that hitch has to go on the quad that I have up in New York. I can't leave it on this machine. This machine stays here. So yeah, the idea is to spend a couple of days up there, actually a little longer than my normal trips. Me and my son are going to go up, and I'm going to focus on mowing at least for the first day or two and see how much we can get done. In a couple of weeks we're having a whole bunch of guys come up, and not like we have to get the place ready for them, but it has not been mowed once this year, and it's already, you know, kind of like getting close to the end of summer. So we got to get after it up there. We got to mow. It's the next morning here, and we're all loaded up. Actually going to be spending 3 or 4 nights up there, which is, I think, the longest that I've ever planned to stay. So my son and I are loaded up. We're going to be spending that time. My brother and his daughter are going to come up in a couple days, and he's bringing a mower too. So this should be pretty fun, because he's borrowing a much nicer machine than this, smaller, but it will be fun to see how these two things compare. And yeah, so we're gonna hit the road a couple hours, and a little after noon we'll arrive. All right, just pulling up to the property now. Show you how high some of the grass is. It's chest high or more. Some of it got knocked down just from heat and whatever, kind of got tall and fell over. It's really tall right here though. It's like all goldenrod. That should be great. I did bring a handkerchief. But some of this got pretty dry, so it's gonna be doable. Go up a little further and we'll drop the trailer. This is pretty good and knocked down too. And then you have to sometimes just pull.
Oh, okay. Like you never actually like learn how to do it.
I know. That's why I say with heat ratchet straps. They can't figure them out.
Oh, it's not.
Looks like it is. Good old trailer. It's made it up to New York many times. All right, she's here on the property. Survived the 4-hour drive, no problem. Trailer did great. We made 0 stops. Got up here 4 hours on the dot. It's the best you can do it. So we're gonna head up the hill to the cabin. Boy, on camera, this thing looks mowed already. I can promise you, we have not mowed it since the end of last year. But all this should be mowed, and we'll get down there. You'll see. I'll hold the camera at eye level, and you'll see just how tall some of this stuff is. But I think we are in good shape. This is good.
It does look like mowed.
I know, it does look mowed, doesn't it? But it's good and dried out. It's not wet at all. And if we can start mowing before it rains today, we'll be in luck. Well, it's like Suzuki quad heaven up here. But here's my King quad. This is my son's quad runner that I bought earlier this year. That thing fired right up too. But we're running a King quad here to pull this, whereas at home I did have a quad runner. But we're gonna attach the hitch to it right now. Seems like I have a yellow jacket following with this quad, so maybe there's a nest somewhere on this thing. We'll figure that out as we go. I haven't been stung yet, so I guess we're doing okay. So I'm getting masked up here to do some mowing, but this hitch came off real easy. This one got installed, no problem. So we're gonna head down the hill. Got some ear protection, the tripod, some gloves. See what we can do. Rain seems to be holding off, so let's get something accomplished here. Okay, so I just did, I don't know, 5-8 minutes worth of mowing, and I got a ton up here. Still could get in there a little bit more. It's hard to make turns, so I probably got to remove that trailer. But I had to like make really wide turns. But it's doing great, and it's cutting through the tall goldenrod here. You know, obviously this is like, you know, that's like nose level for me, so this is about as high as my head, that tallest one. But it does mow it down. It just sort of knocks it down, as you can see, and then anything that sticks up, like here's one pass, you know, you can see lots of little things sticking up still, so you got to make a pass or two to get it all, but it's doing it. All right, let's go down to the lower field and we'll cut some more. Well, this was maybe 15 minutes of mowing. Now you can see in the time lapse, I'm going over the same area multiple times, but this was a field, and that's just like a little walk behind. But it is doing it. You know, grass is still really high. It's, you know, a good 6-7 inches high, maybe more. But kind of looks like a field now. This might be the best it's ever looked, and I haven't even done this huge part here. But this is, you know, this is the driveway, but now it looks like you could drive on any of this. You know, that's right where we come in off the road, and it looks good and messy still over there. There's a shallow well here. I kind of nailed the cinder block. But yeah, right in there is a shallow well. There's a little tin bucket there and a cinder block to mark it, but I kind of hit it. That's all right. There's a lot of trash in the middle here, and this is really high. Yeah, let me show you the trash. Plastic trash, so like almost like almost like a recycling center, like right there. The trash is organized. You know how people are. They don't just, you know, throw their trash. There's an order to it. Yep, there's a snowmobile. That's the snowmobile. Doesn't run anymore. Go figure. So yeah, we're gonna have to get that one going again. It doesn't get fuel, it has weak spark, it's kind of a mess. It might get abandoned. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm just gonna let the quad and the mower cool down a little bit, and we'll do some more. Take a little look. This is what we accomplished in, I don't know, 40 minutes? Maybe an hour? Didn't seem like an hour. Still have this whole section right here. It's got to get done. Right in here, all this tall stuff. We got ourselves a field back here. And the entrance is looking a little better. Still got to chip away at that. It's hard to get in and out of there with the mower. Section is nice and wide now. Oh, it's so much better. Got another big quarter done. I don't know if this section has ever fully been mowed. I know with the Bobcat last year we were able to do a couple passes before it stalled again. I remember that I had like a time lapse set up this way and Jesse was mowing at the camera. But it didn't last long before it started puffing a bunch of smoke again. But this thing works out pretty good. I mean, you have to do a lot of passes, as you can see, to get it all down. But it's a finish mower, you know, and I'm brush hogging with this finish mower. But the cool thing is when you're done, it looks like a finish mower's been through. You know, it really gets it down pretty low and even. And you're not gouging up the ground like you do sometimes with a brush hog, especially on the Bobcat attachment. You know, sometimes you lower it a little too much and it scalps the ground. Well, we got a beautiful day here. It is the next day, by the way. Supposed to be like high of 80. Feels a little hotter than that, and it's like 11 right now. So the sun is bright. And I'm decked out for some sun protection again. But I am just loving how this is turning out. Like, look at that. What a slice of paradise, huh? It'll be awesome if I can get all of this accomplished. I got this big hillside here. Let me walk you down to the road. I'll show you what this looks like. So it's a bit of a hill. I mean, nothing the quad can't handle, but oh, that's like a secondary driveway. It's all rutted out. Doable now because it's dry, but lots of times in the year it's not doable. But this is pretty nice. The quad should be able to go up and down this pretty well, but it'll take a little work because, you know, you have to go slow going down, especially. Got one decent sized tree there that I won't be able to mow. I'll have to mow around. Be nice if we can cut that down. Just walking up through this. There's not much for rocks in here, which is good. This whole section here is like shrubs. Oh, we got some wood structure here. It's like a ladder or something. I have to pull that out. I would love to come and clear this. And these trees aren't half bad, actually. These pines, whatever they are, spruce maybe. They're worth saving. They're not that old. One big tree there. That's an oak, might be. Not good with trees. Got a dead big shrub here, but all this is mowable too. So I should be able to get in here. Should be able to get mostly in there where the snowmobile is. Yeah, it'd be nice to get this tree out of here. So far, I am surprised there are no bees' nests. I've been expecting to encounter some. But yeah, look how flat and bare this is in here. There's a couple trash piles we're gonna have to look out for. Got stuff like this all over the place. It's a broken shovel. Throw it over there with the trash. But yeah, I should be able to come in here. Maybe I'll do that now because this is all nice and flat. Yeah, this is you know, I kind of have to walk it just to make sure I know what I'm about to mow over. But what do we got here? A stump. See, there's a big stump. Oh, it's a rock. A big rock right here. All right, so we gotta look out for that. Can't even see it from this side. But yeah, maybe we'll attack this. We encountered our first mechanical problem. I got belly hung there and it stalled out the mower, and now it's like we have a bad connection. I'm actually seeing a spark here when I try to restart it. And that's because I have my ground wire there, and Oh, this got loose too. Let's see. Make sure my connections are tight. Yeah, it's not starting. It's not turning over. I don't know if like something happened to the charging system and it's draining the battery as it goes. I'm gonna probably go up and get a jump pack and come back down and see if we can figure this out. The engine it's not seized, so, and we have compression, so we didn't blow up the engine or anything, but yeah, everything's good and hot, and who knows, let it cool down for a minute. We'll try it again. All right, I just tightened up that bolt. It is starting now. It's running a little rattly, like almost like something's loose. I guess it's okay. Maybe I bent the shaft a little bit. I don't know. But it's working. Oil is looking just a tad low. Could be just where I'm located, but I'm gonna ride back up, get a little bit of oil, top this thing off, make sure we're keeping the engine as cool as we can. This thing is working hard here. I do want to try to get a few more passes. This is rough in here, really rough. Very uneven. There's metal, there's an old water pipe. That's probably where they were getting water from the shallow well. There's tire ruts here, that's where I bellied out. Maybe I can clean up a little around the snowmobile. Oh, here's some more things to look out for. Oh, yeah, that's actually cement. Let's see, in here looks pretty light. Got some more cement. I do have the trash pile, tire pile. Yep. Maybe I can try to get some of this. Doesn't look too bad, a little uneven. Oh, here's something. Oh, electrical. Oh my. Oh wow. Well, I guess that's where we could have power one day. Coming from, here's our meter. Look how bad this looks. But yeah, there's a meter. This place did have power at one point. Yeah, kind of rough going in this section. Hard to pick my battles. This might be weed whacker territory. All right, we're gonna do some weed whacking. I bought this new a couple weeks ago, a Stihl FS56 RC. It's decent. It was like the cheapest one they had, the cheapest straight shaft one they had in the store. I don't usually buy brand new, but I don't like weed whackers. So, all right, let's attack some of this crazy stuff with a weed whacker first. All right, well, the weed whacker is doing fine, but the string I have is like 15 years old and it's so brittle, and it's like immediately getting worn down as soon as you hit this goldenrod stuff. But I was able to clear off this one trash pile, this rock, this stump, the electrical hookup over there, but I thought I was gonna be able to do a lot more. I just went through a whole head of string, went by real fast. All right, well, I might hook up the mower one more time and see if I could do something. We'll see. Morning, everybody. It is Friday morning now, and I'm all geared up to do some mowing while it's still not too hot out. Got eye protection, ear protection, lung protection. I got a camel pack, water, I got sun protection, and we're gonna get down there, and I'm gonna use this thing for now, the DR field and brush mower. And the pole behind mower started spitting a little oil out of the oil fill. I don't know if it was just getting super hot where it was like sloshing around. I did top it off with oil, and maybe I put too much in, I don't know. But obviously that's been sitting for a whole day now. I'll fire that up later, but I'm actually gonna go down the hill with this thing. The quad that I use for the tow behind is gonna stay up here. So we're gonna do a little manual mowing and some hard to reach areas with this guy. And let me start it up for you. I did get it running yesterday and tuned it a little bit because it was surging. So let's make sure that it's running right. I just topped off the fuel, non-ethanol fuel. The oil is good. The carburetor was tuned last night. So let's see how she runs. Bring the idle up a little bit. All right, well, that's good enough for me. Let's get down there and do some mowing. Yeah, even that little bit was was a lot. The thing's a workout. It's self-propelled on one wheel, but you got to manhandle the thing. And I'm just noticing now some bolts where the handles are, like where the handle connects to the frame, are coming loose. So yeah, it did it though. It's cutting down the hardest stuff in the field, and it's cutting it down pretty much no problem. It got clogged twice maybe, but I'm figuring out how to deal with this, you know, 6 foot tall goldenrod or whatever this is. Pretty dense, but we're doing it, guys. I'll show you. All right, we are exposing the trash pile here, but you can see the snowmobile, and I'm telling you, this area has never been void of grass for us. It's always been tall weeds, and we've been here for almost 2 years, you know. So really this is just our second summer, but Well, it's Saturday morning, our last morning up here. Well, actually, I'm going to leave about 4 or 5 a.m. tomorrow, but won't really film anything. I don't think I've showed you up top yet. So here we are. My brother and his daughter arrived yesterday afternoon. And I'm going to get some morning mowing done. That's what I've been doing. It's been nicer to get it done before the heat hits. It's been hot. But yeah, here are all the machines I've gotten. We like to just like start everything, make sure everything runs. I haven't done the snowmobiles, but dirt bike works. All the quads work. So we have 5 up here now. 5 quads, 1 dirt bike, 2.5 snowmobiles, the one down below. Jesse and I are going to mess with it. We'll see if we can get it running. If we can't, I might just trailer it home. But let's hop on the quad here, go hook up to the mower, and see if we can do that hill along the road. I call it the second driveway. That needs to be mowed, and it's pretty steep, so it should be kind of interesting. See how it does. So I did a little bit more mowing off camera, not too much. Got this area over here. There's a few little obstacles, like some, cement pylons. Yeah, a couple of them here. Things to look out for, but a lot of stuff is flat right in here, which is nice. Got a little bit of a bump or a hill there. Gotta work on that. And then this stuff, which there was some wood. I don't know if it was like a sawhorse or something like that had collapsed that was there. Something used to block a driveway or something. And I wonder if this was a driveway at some point. Kind of looks very flat. But yeah, I should be able to go up it and then maybe down this area. And then up is very easy. It's down that you have to be a little slow with, but this looks like a gentle enough slope. So yeah, this would be really awesome if I could mow this. This has definitely never been mowed since we've had it. We never even tried. And then the ultimate thing would be trying to get through all of that brush, which is like, I don't know, 8-foot tall shrubs. But they are mowable with, not with the weed whacker, but with the mowers. So if I can carve out a path, maybe we can start chipping away at that area, because that'd be cool. Welp, I think I just blew the connecting rod on this engine. I did drain a little bit of oil, but it had the right amount. I think this thing was going for a little while here. And yeah. Hey, I just blew the connecting rod on the mower. Yeah. I did a lot though.
You did what it needed to do.
We could put a new engine on this thing. All right, so Jesse's gonna do a little DR field and brush mower. Over there, there's a little bit of a stream that we sometimes fill up our shower water from the stream, so gonna try to get some access to this. Yeah, I definitely blew the connecting rod. If you want to hear what this sounds like, you can just hear it clanking around in there. I'm thinking I can just put another engine on it. So what I'd like to do while Jesse and I are here is unbolt this engine. I can take it back home and throw on a different engine. As long as I mean, I really like an electric start Briggs, and I'll probably save this muffler so we have a side discharge muffler. Besides that, as long as like the shaft length is the same, we should be able to just throw any old engine on this thing, and that's sort of the good part about using a nice simple machine like this, is it's just an old Briggs, you know. Shouldn't be that complicated actually. So yep, at least we got done pretty much the mowing I wanted to do. Tomorrow we leave, and yeah, we're gonna maybe just touch up that hill, do a little bit over here, and we'll call it good. All right, we're gonna call it quits here. We got it mowed. Really just about everything I wanted to do we got done. And we only blew up the main character of this video, that's all. She'll be back, don't worry. A blown engine really isn't the end of a machine if you could swap it. I think that thing is worthy of getting a second engine on. But yeah, we really exposed a lot of the stuff. You know, we can see what we're working with now, the obstacles. Really just 2 or 3 big trash piles. You know, that shouldn't be too crazy to clean up. Got all these tires. You know, you got that chimney in there, which is probably gonna stay. You got the trash pile in the middle, which I'd like to get that one out of there first. You know, now we can see all this stuff. The shallow well, this was always hidden in a bunch of brush, but now it feels like it's wide out in the open. You know, this was all brush when we started this. Oh yeah, and Jesse got down to the little spring over here, or creek, drainage, pond. Well, it's bone dry. Here come the kids. Kind of waiting to the end of the video. I wanted this to be successful before I shared this story, but oh well. So I bought my quad from a guy 2 years ago, and when I went to buy a walk behind mower, I reached out to a seller. Turned out it was the same guy. I bought this walk behind from the same guy who sold me my quad, and interestingly, my quad is what I'm using to pull this. So it's kind of funny because I really didn't realize that when I was buying this walk behind, that it was the same seller, and here I am using both of his old machines to do the job. Just kind of ironic to me, but yeah, we got to get this engine off, or at least diagnose it a bit. If I need to, I'll haul the whole thing home. But I took the tank off. Jesse and I are gonna try to tip this on its side and see what it looks like to get the pulley and the 4 bolts off. And maybe I can just take, I don't know, I might end up taking this home, but it might be good to just kind of poke around and see what this all looks like. All right, so here's what we're looking at. The belt will come off easily, and then you just have the engine bolts. Those will be no problem, but the pulley, it seems almost like a cast iron. Pretty heavy duty. Hopefully the thing comes loose.
Right, now we just gotta split this and then it should slide right off, or
Maybe.
with a little persuasion.
Yeah, I got the engine bolt loose, the engine bolts loose, and
We snapped one.
yeah, we did break one. That's okay. The engine's toast. Oh, there you go. You missed it. Jesse just pulled it right out. We didn't have to take that pulley off. It's just still on there. So, oh yeah, there's a set screw.
Yeah.
Oh, that's for the top pulley.
Yeah.
Which is redundant now.
So see, all that's one piece. So that's
It is one piece.
It's
You're
all
right.
rusted on.
Yeah,
there real good.
that's gonna be fun.
Yeah, just soak it.
I could also, like, really all I need to do is measure.
The bolt pattern.
Well, no, measure how far down this pulley is compared to the engine.
Oh yeah.
And then if I find another pulley, I have to make sure that that depth is similar.
Yeah.
Because really, I just put a new engine on with a different pulley.
That should be easy.
Yeah, it's not that bad. It's more about like belt height, because you don't want it, like if it sticks down an inch further.
Well, if it's got a shaft, we can adjust it.
So usually you can't adjust it. This is,
No, I mean
this
pulley
looks
height.
somewhat. No, you can't usually adjust pulley heights. This is kind of odd that you have the ability to do a set screw on the drive belt. And then this.
It's a blade belt.
This is your blades, yeah. But it kind of looks like it's all the. I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting.
See if you have a
But there,
shaft.
that's that. That's off. So.
That was quick.
Yeah, I think I have everything I need to know to take that engine home and just source another engine for this. It's not so bad. Nice. She'll live again. And we have our first running engine out of the batch. And this engine is going to get used for a purpose. It's going to go on my walk-behind monster that I'm using to mow the field up in our New York property. And yeah, I have it sitting on this Husqvarna, and I got this for free off the side of the road, no engine. So I'm just using it as like an engine stand. So I hooked up a fuel source to it. I hooked up the choke cable because the throttle cable was missing on this thing. I got the choke operating the throttle and choke. It actually works perfectly. It's kind of cool. Anyway, I have one engine bolt in, so you're going to see this thing rattle around a little bit. But I'm going to jump the starter, and I'll show you guys that this thing runs great. All I've done to it is put the carburetor from the other engine that was on my walk behind. I put it on this one for a couple different reasons. One, I knew that it was clean and worked, and as far as the hookups go for the machine I need, I thought that'd be easiest. But yeah, I put oil in it and swapped the carb. That's all I've done, and this thing idles and throttles up perfectly. think Carmen approves of our replacement engine. Yesterday I put on the muffler that used to be on this engine, so we have our side muffler instead of the one that wouldn't work on the frame of the walk behind. Let's see, what else have we been working on? I finally removed the pulley from this one. So this is a pretty unique looking cast iron pulley. It was really on there, and it has, this is the drive pulley that it would go like, it would stack like that, and both have set screws, or actually this one doesn't have a set screw, but this one did. And so this is what I came up with. I went to Tractor Supply. Basically I went with like a build your own pulley. We have this adapter that's gonna go in there. It's got a set screw, and I'll have to do some welding to get this to be, you know, fixed on. But I wanted to go with a setup like this because I need to get the right depth. If I were to use like your traditional double stack pulley, this is gonna extend way too low. Basically, it's gonna be out of alignment with the belts for the blades. This pulley went just to the end of the shaft. These things extend far past the shaft, so it really is not ideal. And I needed something that could basically go up and down on the shaft until you get it to the right spot, and then you can set these set screws. So I think we got a winner here. I'm just gonna have to do some welding. Now I could have just bought something from Amazon, but I was in Tractor Supply. I know this is the right size because I was measuring it. I know this is the right size because I was measuring it, and I actually like even the depth. This is more of a V. This has like, it's a V, but it has like a flat spot. But some of these are a really deep V, and I wasn't so sure about that. But this, to me, I think that's definitely gonna work. It's actually about as close to perfect as you could get. All right, so this does fit in there. Like if I were to hit it, it would go in. So I'm gonna start there, and then once it's protruding out, hopefully I can weld onto this material and just put a couple welds in, and that should hold it. That's what we're up to. So I just pressed this in and been working on the keyway, and this is what we have. Everything goes on really nice, and this is what I was talking about. Essentially this is going to sit like that, like flush with the end of the shaft. But you can see I have lots of adjustability here, and you know, then I can drive in the shaft bolt with a washer just to make sure it doesn't like fall out or anything like that. I really like this. I think this is exactly what we needed here. And you can see how beat up this thing is just from me trying to remove it. It's unusable if I didn't mention that. I don't know if I did. Some people are like, why don't you just use this? Well, because I destroyed it. That's why. Here's what I came up with. I welded both sides. I just painted it too. So that's looking great. I found a short bolt because the original bolt would be too long. It would be for a double stack pulley, which, like I said, extends past the shaft. This one will thread all the way in and keep this pulley from falling off the shaft. And then of course we have the set screws to keep it from going up the shaft. So let's get this pulley all set up. Actually, 2 set screws on this, which is nice. There we go. All set up. Okay, and the engine's all set. The last little bit that I did was make sure that the kill wire is attached to the coil. That setup was just a little bit different on the old one, but now it's running through the harness. We should be able to just plug in the harness. This harness came from this engine, which goes right into our machine, and you know, charging system, kill switch, all that stuff included. Yeah, we're ready to go. I think the only other thing that I didn't tell you was, obviously this is a 15 horsepower. I looked up the model number of this old engine and it was an 11.5, so we are gaining a bunch of horsepower here. I'm sure they're not terribly different engines, but we do have increased horsepower, which is what I was looking for. I was actually hoping to put like a V-twin on here, but it just doesn't fit. The engine mounting bolts are different, but I think we're all set. All right, here we're gonna try to make this a nice ending for you guys. So we have the 15 horsepower engine, and you know, you saw me get this all prepped and ready. This should go up. I got all the engine bolts, pulley. Should be a really easy job here. So just gonna plop this thing on and bolt everything up, and hopefully we're back to mowing here. I'll end the video with just a little bit of mowing. You guys saw me mow enough, but I want to make sure this thing works. And I don't want the mower to be up here. I want the mower to be down there in the grass. It's just up here so I can work on it.
Gotta get the tripod set up.
Hopefully it fits. Oh, does it not fit?
There you go.
I was gonna say,
That would
same size pulley went in. All holes are lining up. That's good.
Looks like it's lining up over here.
It's basically the same engine.
Nice.
So it'll be a little tricky getting the bolts secured, but the actual frame is threaded.
Oh, really?
It's like not actually just a bolt hole. I think it'll fit. It'll make it a little tricky though. You have to like thread it into the frame, and then it'll thread into the engine, which is a little different.
Yeah. All right, try it now. Yep, it's going in.
Nice.
There we go. I think it's lined up pretty good right now. There we go. Yeah.
There. 2 out of 4. Nice.
Well, here's what I'm thinking. Kyle,
Yeah.
you like the owl here? We need a conversation. It's not even good.
All right, 1 second.
Chainsaw mark on the door. Yeah, owl's good there. All right.
That's better. 9/16.
Yeah.
Go grab one?
Yeah, sure. Bees.
A lot of them around.
Yeah. So if this thing is successful enough where, you know, it's reliable, our buddy Chris would probably borrow it to mow his lawn, or his field, and he bought property down the street.
Nearby, right?
Yeah. So hopefully this thing will be something that other people can use too. He was like, "Can I borrow that thing?" I was like, "Oh, I gotta test it." And then I'm glad I did do like a full run with it, because it didn't last one mow, you know. But
Now, did you get this thing in Connecticut? Or?
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I bought it non-running, you know. This whole video is me working on the engine, modifying the thing, getting everything running, bringing it up here. It just died, you know, which is all right, happens. And easy enough engine to replace. So I had one.
Try
There's a
that.
lot of, yeah, as long as you get the right, you know, Briggs and Stratton sort of similar size. And I worked at home to make sure the belt, the pulley was the same size, the electrical setup would work, the throttle cable would be the same, all that sort of stuff. Okay, got everything hooked up here. Let's see if it'll fire off for you guys. The battery's really weak, very weak. Hard time moving it. I feel like I have interference. Oh yeah. Yeah, I'll show you what's going on. All right, just a slight interference problem. The pulley is hitting this bracket. Honestly, it kind of looks like I could, well, the bracket does help with a belt guide. But I should be able to bend it. I'm gonna get a crowbar in there. It's a thick piece of metal though. But I really just need like 1/8 of an inch. So, shouldn't be too hard to fix. As you can see, I have the engine off. I'm gonna adjust this pulley, so I'm gonna hopefully have the tools up here. I gotta get an Allen and loosen that and get the pulley to go up just a little bit so that it doesn't interfere with that bracket. And then we should be good. There we go. I just reset it, got myself a little bit more space. You know, this bolt and washer isn't really doing anything now besides it'll just hold on the pulley if it slips. So, but I mean, you got the lock screw there, so I think we're okay. But that will give us the clearance we need. So let me get this engine put back on. Okay, you can see daylight now between the pulley and that bracket. So that should help with the engine spinning over a lot faster and actually running. I had a fuel leak. I still have a fuel leak. The fuel shutoff was leaking, and so I just found this piece of fuel line lying around up here. But I still got a problem here. All right, we're just gonna pretend it's not leaking fuel there. Tow it down the hill right now, down the driveway. Gotta go nice and slow. A little slower, Kyle. All right, this will take a minute. That's a pretty crazy contraption, huh? Well, I'm gonna end the video there before anything else goes wrong with this thing. But as you can see, it's working. I don't know, it takes a little while to start up. It doesn't even want any choke. It wants low throttle. I don't know if I'm like, it's flooding a little bit or something, but yeah, as far as how the engine runs, it definitely runs stronger than the other one. So this 15 horsepower I think is probably the smallest you really want to be for a field like this. But yeah, I just did this part again because this is some thick stuff over here. 2 weeks ago when I was up here, I was spending a lot of time mowing in here, but yeah, it's doing the job. I could probably do a little bit more, but we are super happy with how this field turned out, and it's making us need to clean up the trash that was on here when we bought it. And yeah, oh look, here's another here's another machine that was in a video. You guys look great on that thing together.
I wanted to see this thing in action.
Yeah, sure, I'll run it. Well, thank you all for watching. This is Kyle by the lake. I hope you enjoyed the video and the whole process of buying this walk behind, modifying it, making it work for a field. This was a lot of fun, and it was several weeks, months in the making, but really fun project for me and something that will be used a lot going forward. So thank you guys for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.